Good morning. Thank you for tuning in to the Mona Lisa Monroe Morning Show. Grab your coffee or your tea, hunty, because we have a lot to talk about. But before we get started on those red hot topics, please go to my website, www.monalisamonroe.com. We've got t-shirts, we've got mugs, we've got toast. Believe me, we've got you covered. And also, you could purchase my book, Life After the Diagnosis. If you know a survivor or you are a survivor, this is the book that you need. Well, let's go ahead and get this party started right, shall we? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Mona Lisa Monroe Morning Show, honey. We've got a lot to talk about this morning. I am ecstatic because, like I said, we bring you the best. We have the best guests ever on this show, okay? So, before I get all excited and skip over stuff, please go to my website, www.monalisamonroe.com. Like the commercial says, honey, we got your coffee cups, we got your t-shirts, we got everything you need right there, monalisamonroe.com. And also, you can get the book, Life After the Diagnosis. If you know a survivor of cancer or leukemia, this is the book that you need. Of course, it's talking about my story. I am a survivor. Yay! And I have been in remission for now 12 years. You're talking about a story, honey. So you don't want to miss out on that. But let me jump right in and get started with the show today. Today, we are talking about out of the box thinkers. These people decided to not go with the status quo, baby. These people decided to step outside the box and do what they are gifted to do. If you have been following the show, we had creative thinkers, we had gifted hands, and now we got out of the box thinkers. All right, y'all. First of all, let me introduce my girl, Heather. What's going on, Heather? How are you, honey?
It's going. Good start to our 2022. How about you?
Pretty good, pretty good. And we also have my other girl. Okay, sister from another mister, but I love her. Terica, hey girl, what's
Good
going
morning.
on? And of course, we got my brother from another mother, Mr. Charles Hall. Hello, good morning.
Hello. Hello. Good morning.
Okay, great. We got a full-fledged show for you guys this morning, but we're going to start off by giving a sort of like a bio or an intro to you guys. And so just let everybody know who you are and what you do. And we'll start with Miss Heather. Go ahead.
All right, I'm Heather. I own a franchise called Decalash out in Pooler. Um, yeah, I know. Yeah, Decalash just came in too. But yeah, so I own a franchise called Decalash out in Pooler and own the rights to two more, which I'll probably be throwing one in Bluffton and another one in soon. Soon we'll figure out where. Right now we don't.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Okay, great. Go ahead, Terica.
Well, good morning. My name is Terica Smith, and I'm in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm the founder and editor in chief for a women's publication called Eden and Vine magazine, and it is dedicated to the cultivation of beauty and truth. So we disciple women in a sort of modern format.
Love it. And Mr. Charles Hall, go ahead, please, sir.
I'm Charles Hall. I'm a dad. I'm a I'm a master barber. I'm a trailblazer in the barber industry. I help a lot of younger barbers and older barbers see the business actually as not just a regular business, but things you can do in the industry of barbering that'll take your income, like doctors, lawyers, or whatever. And more importantly, I encourage people to use what you actually have and to take what you have and believe in the things that you have, that it can take you much further than just average. You just have to believe in it, set yourself up as a business and not just believe that you can get by. And it's worked for me and so many others.
And that is beautiful. That is true. Terica, good morning. She says that's awesome. Yes, yes, yes. So I'm glad you started with that, Charles, because that's mainly what you guys are linked up to me, yoked up in the same sort of purpose. Because what you do, that there's more in it than just what it looks like. Because I mean, literally, when I'm sitting or laying on one of Heather's tables, we're actually talking to the people like therapy, and then you go to the hair salon, it's therapy. You go to the barbershops, it's therapy. You writing and you're talking about beauty and not just the outside, you're talking about the inside. So what we have to do is we have to get and grow deeper. Everything is not surface, it's deep. So our audience, Terica, how innovative. I know, right? I'm telling you. So one of the first questions that we had on the table was, how did you get started in the business that you're in? Now, I know we probably started doing something and then we got in it and we were like, this is not for me. So I want to sort of hear how that sort of clicked for you and how you decided to get going on it. Terica, can you start with that?
Sure. I was doing event management and having babies and chasing chickens on a farm in Tennessee. And the Lord honestly just began to deal with me about writing, which I had always known was called to write. And I had an eye for photography, even though I was not trained in any way, form, or fashion. And probably for about 2 years, I wrestled with this internal, I have to do this. And it got to the point where I would rather, even though I knew it was going to be difficult and I knew it was going to be painful in some ways, I always compare it to birth, because I'm like, there comes a point when you're pregnant that you're like, I'm so miserable. I would rather just go through the pain of having a child than carry this baby any longer. And so it kind of was that way. And I just got to the point where I was like, I would rather do this, even though I don't know what I'm doing, because I didn't. I had interned with a publication. I had some experience in the interning realm, but as far as really knowing what I was doing, I didn't. And so it was a stepping out in blind faith. I literally had an iPhone I had iPhone photos.
Wow.
And I had a laptop that was barely functioning. And I knew my gift was storytelling. So I gathered a few friends and I said, hey, you guys, let's launch a women's publication. And they were like, okay. And we were too ignorant by definition to realize or know that we were doing anything crazy. And God always shows up in that space. So it has flourished beyond our wildest dreams. We're in year 3.
Wow.
And we're just astonished. It was just blind faith. The one thing that God kept stirring in my heart was just bring your loaves and fish, and don't worry about the miracle. The miracle is my doing. It has nothing to do with you. It's none of your business. So just bring me what you've got and let me do it.
Wow. That's amazing. That is amazing. And Heather, what about you?
Well, I was in aviation before franchising, and while in the desert of Afghanistan contracting for years, I decided that I wanted to become a pilot. And while I was flying, I had a friend, and he was like, you're breaking statistics right now. Like, you're a Black woman pilot, and that's less than 1% in all of the world. And so I was like, I was like, man, I'm breaking statistics. And he was like, you're going to be passing this down to your daughter. And after he had said that, like, I realized that generational curses that I had, the traditions that I wanted to pass on to my daughter went deeper than just, me being a pilot and being able to say like, oh, your mom is a pilot. I
Right.
wanted generational wealth. I wanted to be able to leave like leave things to her. So I started looking into building my own business. Um, Looked into everything. Honestly, went from restaurants, bars to nail salons. It went in every direction, and that's when I came across Deca Lash. Everything about them, they were family oriented. They were passionate about their work. We make our own products. Again, we're therapists to all of our clients. We even teach and train and on a regular basis, we talk to our lash artists about if there are certain things that a client says that maybe gears in a direction of domestic abuse, or
Yeah.
things that are going on at home. We have steps that we take for that, and it was just something that I knew I could pass on to my daughter. And I was passionate about it. Everything about Deca Lash I loved, so I
Yeah.
ended up reaching out to them, flying from Afghanistan straight to Pittsburgh within a week, talking to the owners, and fell in love and opened it up here in
Wow.
so,
Wow.
yeah.
I had no idea, Heather, that you were a doggone pilot. Good
Oh,
night. What?
yeah.
And Charles, what about you?
When I initially got started, it was a while back. I've always been a salesperson from being young. I've had an entrepreneurial spirit. I was raised with the spirit of excellence. And pretty much any place that I worked, there's a cap on your income. And I never believed that I was going to be the type of person that could just work a job and be satisfied with what they said my value was.
Oh,
Anything that I've ever attempted to do, I always excelled and superseded that. And there was just no way that I could do that for any company to the point to where I don't reap any of the benefits, the long-term benefits.
true.
Some people may remember a company called MCI, like sales, and they made millions. They made probably a couple million off of me, but they just paid you barely what they could pay you. So I basically started looking at other millionaires. You're wearing a millionaire right now. You're drinking out of a millionaire's cup right now. And most of the millionaires have names.
You're coming in and out, Charles.
Mostly every product that you use, the name of that product is and they capitalize on something simple in a major way. And I looked at like some of the grocery stores, like they make their own brand everything. That's how I started making my own products. I started researching, and I had so many clients. I know what I liked, and some of my clients are chemists, and I started from that point. And being at trade shows and teaching classes for other companies, I started doing everything for myself because I believe that I'm just as valuable as any other business or person that believed that they could be wealthy. So over a period of time, it's just a matter of trial and error. If you fail at work, you get written up. If you fail for yourself, you learn, you get better, and you increase. And you can never stop doing that. The learning is in the failure. So if you don't fail every now and then, you can't learn much. And if you fail on somebody else's clock or their time, you're only going to be rewarded what they want you to have. And for me, that route, that just wasn't enough. For me, what I wanted for my kids in the future, that just to live like that it was just enough for me to be motivated when I open my eyes every day. I cannot just live a basic regular life.
Mm.
And in order for me to switch that, I have to work for myself. I have to believe in who I am. I have to believe in what I have, and wherever it is that I have, I need to start from there. And that's how I
Yeah.
got started.
Well, that is, I agree with that 100%. And my audience is throwing me questions, so I'm trying to catch up with them. But like I thought, you guys started with an idea of doing something, and then what was inside of you pushed you past that status quo. Well, let me be this because this makes money. Let me do this. Let me work here. It was that inner drive, that inner purpose, that inner thing that says you're more than that, or this is what you're supposed to do. Now, with that being said, of course, the shutdown, the pandemic closed us all down in 2020. So, how did you keep focused, stay in the course during the pandemic? Heather, how did you do that?
Well, we opened the day after the pandemic, or we all opened, and it was a struggle, I will say. A lot of people didn't want to leave the house and whatnot. Um, I think the way that I was able to get through it was I was asked like to focus on the lifestyle that I wanted, and I wanted to focus on, I guess, just more marketing, more advertising, more just the end goals that I had for the business in 2020. In 2020, it was just to get people to recognize who we were. So
Mm,
that's a tough question. I'm thinking about that one.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. What
yeah.
about you, Terica? What could you, I mean, during the pandemic, what happened? Did you, some businesses blew up, they got bigger. What about you?
Yeah, I think we were one of those that was very positively impacted because we launched in March of 2019 and the pandemic hit that fall. And we have a converted space that functions as a home studio and shipping area, which had its challenges, with shipping materials and product and people in your space. It was a lot. But because churches shut down, because businesses shut down, because everything was, on lock, we were able to take the gospel in a really beautiful format and send it to people in their homes. And so
Oh, wow.
Eden and Vine became not only a women's publication full of, recipes and home decor, but it's layered with the gospel. And so
Wow.
we were able to send that into homes, and we shipped it straight from where we were. And it kind of became it right off the bat. It developed this reputation for not only just being a magazine, but I mean, we had people, we still do, people who use it as a devotional. They use it in, women's groups as like a Bible study. So for us, there was a lot of demand because we were breathing hope into people, and because they couldn't go to their churches, because they couldn't go to their small groups.
Right.
We were able to go right into their homes. So for us, it was definitely, God used it. God used it.
Wow. That is amazing, Terica. I didn't even know that. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, hello, Miss Miller. All of your stories have deep messages in them. That's what Miss Terata said. Charles, what about you during the pandemic? How did you push through knowing that we were on lockdown?
Well, for me, being a master and a stylist, barber, most people that would go into a salon or a barbershop, you couldn't. So either you go to work and you minimize, and you have only one person in a salon. You do your online orders, you pushing products. I have a lot of wealthy clients, and I decided to come out of the salon 100%.
Oh,
And
wow.
focus on those that could afford me to come to them.
Oh.
In addition to that, with COVID, certain people, I'm not willing just to go see anybody that gets in contact with me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but going into your own private space, some people have underlying conditions.
Mm-hmm.
It's more comfortable for me to come into their environment. I mean, they can talk how they want to talk. I mean, they're free to do what they want to do in their
Mm.
own personal space. And it actually turned out to be more of a solution because you never know what's going to happen with how the laws will change based on a pandemic.
Wow.
So by minimizing the number of people that I deal with, but focusing on a crowd of people that can afford to pay more for convenience, for
Mm.
me it's been a blessing.
Mm.
It,
Wow.
it's been a blessing. I fly some places. There's a lot of places I visit here in the Central Texas area. I just been blessed to have people that can afford to pay for convenience.
Yeah.
So that helps me focus on products and product production and shipping and stuff like that. So for me, it affected me, but it bettered me.
And it's all, well, I was told it's all how you look at it, right? Because during the pandemic, a lot of people were like, oh, I can't work, and I can't do this, I can't do that. And then some people, I mean, millionaires were created during the pandemic. Whoever decided to make a mask, whoever decided to make hand sanitizer, these type of things created a demand, supply and demand. Any billionaire will tell you supply and demand. That's just all what it's about.
Yeah.
So you guys, every morning when you wake up, is there a ritual? Is there a devotional? Is there a something that you personally get in your space to do or to think in order to go forward doing what you do? Charles, what about you? You start us off on that one.
Yeah, for me that's the easy one. I remember the hard days.
Yeah.
Feel, are you there? Are you guys still there?
Yeah, you're sort of
Feel
freezing
that
up
for
on us.
me when I wake up. Yeah, when I wake up every day, I see where my life is going. And if you stop, you go back to the life you used to have. That for me, that's enough motivation.
That's it,
For
huh?
some people, that may not be enough, but for me, I've had so many hard times such a long time ago, and it hurt enough that if I change what I'm doing now, it doesn't make sense. It's like
Mm,
it's almost like breathing. There, for me, there is no other way. It's
wow.
almost like second nature. Um, the cold weather is not going to discourage me to go back to being just the average, everyday, hope to get by kind of person.
Right.
Somebody makes me upset. There's nothing that can upset me to the point you can't upset me back to that life.
That's a good point.
You
Why
cannot.
let something mess your whole
Yeah,
mindset up?
there.
That's true.
I tend to do the fill in the blank. What's a good reason to not move forward to excel? And just fill in the blank. And the blank for me is I have to look at my children. I have to look at my family. I have to look
Mm,
at goals that I want to accomplish. There is nothing to fill in the blank. And just looking at it that way, if you make a decision to go the other way, that's what's at risk. You're
yeah.
putting those things at risk. And I'm not willing to gamble. I'm not willing to back off. It's after you've done it for so long, for me, it's like muscle memory. There's
You
just
get
no way that I can even get. I don't even know how to function the other way anymore. I guess I changed into a new person. When you work for yourself, there's two games. There's the short game and there's the long term game, and you have to win both games all the time. And if you're
mm,
not winning one of the games, you're upset with yourself and your focus. It's like I never get unfocused. I'm always focused. If I tried not to do it, I don't think I could do it. So
Wow, that's pretty good. What about you, Heather? Do you wake up in the morning and get this ritual going, or do you just, you're like that racehorse with those what is it, side blinders blinders on?
I do. So every morning I try to wake up before the sun breaks, of course, and I read. I'm a reader. I'm not just trying to be my own boss. I actually don't want to be my own boss. I don't want to be a boss at all. I just want a lifestyle of freedom. And so I read books that help my mindset, that keeps me in the right direction. So I'm currently reading Soundtracks, in case anyone wants to know, but currently reading the book Soundtracks. It's about, overthinking and how to use that power of overthinking to your benefit. But so I read, and then I go through my calendar. I have like a planner, and I write down everything that I need to get done in the day, all of that. It just kind of gets you in the routine of managing your life and knowing which direction you're going to go in that day, to succeed by the end of it. So that's how I start my morning.
Okay. And Terica, what about you?
We are in an interesting season. We lovingly call it a season of Sabbath. When we sold our home during the pandemic, sold the farm, and so we moved into a pretty intense season of transition. And my husband left his corporate job during the pandemic and launched his own company. So in addition to everything else, it's been a lot. But one of the things that we gave ourselves, I've been teaching on Sabbath rest for quite a number of years. And one of the things that has always appealed to me on the topic are the large companies around the world, most of them not faith-based, believe it or not, who will every 7 years take a year off. To seek new inspiration and to rest and to focus on, growth and that type of thing. And so this year, once we sold the farm, and moved into this, what we're lovingly calling a season of Sabbath, I gave myself basically half days, because when you work for yourself, you can do that. So the first half of the day is time with Jesus. It's getting my kids out the door. It's my rituals. I have do something called morning rituals. It's hydration. It's a matcha latte. It's like a whole thing. Working out, all of that. And then at lunchtime, I switch and I meet my team in the afternoon. But for this calendar year, we wanted to, and we needed to. We came out of a long season of ministry on the farm, and so we needed a kind of a reset. So for me, I give myself the mornings. It feels very much like a luxury that I can. There's also an immense amount, as any entrepreneur knows, there's an immense amount of long days and hard work that goes into every day. You never get away from it. So anyway, it's just, it's definitely, I go through my morning rituals and then I have evening rituals as well. But yes.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, me personally, same thing. I mean, I have to get up and give myself time before I give everyone else my time.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's like, okay, everybody is sleep, quiet, whatever. That's for me. And then when I get going, if you sit and listen, everyone starts pulling on you at 9 o'clock.
Yep.
So it's like, if you don't take time out for yourself, you're going to be stuck out. Mr. Joseph, what's up, cuz? I would like to know what Charles, Heather, and Terica's hardest obstacles were. Also, Charles and Heather, as African Americans, how much of an impact did that have on achieving your goals and promoting yourself? I guess we could start with Heather. Can you answer Mr. Joseph?
Hardest obstacle. So I will say that the hardest obstacle was actually making the move. I think you, as people, especially Americans, we're so used to having that for sure paycheck, and going in, working our 9 to 5, getting off, having our paycheck. Like, we're so comfortable with that taking the step to finally put your foot down and be like, you know what, this is the direction that I want to take. That was the hardest. So that would be the hardest for me. I left Afghanistan, I put my notice in, and like I was shaking in my boots type deal. Like when I was flying
Wow.
back to the States and moving to a city that I hadn't lived in forever, really didn't know much about it. Like it just, that was the hardest for me. By taking the step, I wouldn't go back. I wouldn't have changed it at all. Let's see. And then as African Americans, how much of an impact did that have on you in achieving your goals and promoting yourself? So I opened my first business during the pandemic, and that also was around the same time that the Black Lives Matter movement happened. So
Oh,
at
wow.
first, I'm thinking that this was going to be advantageous. I thought it was going to be benefiting me in some way. It was the exact opposite. When I first opened, I had told some clients, it was like, yeah, Black owned business. It went south actually.
Wow.
Canceling their appointments, left 1-star reviews like crazy. Like that's when I realized that I should not promote myself as much, not during that time at least, and more just promote the brand and not so much me as the Black woman business owner.
Wow, that's
It
interesting.
is. It is. It's insane to me that that still happens nowadays, but it does. It does. I've experienced it myself. It's just something that I now have to back off on, unfortunately. But
Wow.
for my business, not just my business, but my employees and for my livelihood, I would rather just not promote myself. So
Wow, that is interesting. Charles, what about you?
Well, for me, as far as promoting myself and the obstacles for that, um, I don't think it's for me. The How would I say this? I would say that my biggest obstacle was myself. I
Hmm.
feel that I am my own competition. So if someone was to tell me I couldn't do something, I couldn't entertain what other people would say.
Hmm.
I had to stay focused on what I was doing. And if I would entertain what outsiders would bring to the table to me, um, I had to be careful what I shared with people. When you share certain things with people, some people can be dream killers. Some people,
Dream killers.
some people, what they could or could not accomplish, that's not for me. That's them. That's their world. I had to make sure that I stayed focused on myself and what I was doing and what I
Mm.
am capable of and what I can accomplish. That's going to be up to me. That's going to be up to me to deal with. It's going to be up to me to make my own adjustments. So I would say myself would be one of my hardest things to deal with because we talk to ourselves,
Hmm.
and sometimes you can be negative, sometimes you can be positive. But if I stick to the script, if I stay to the course, if I follow what I intend to do, yeah, I'm a God fearing person, and I believe that God will help put people in my path to accomplish the things that I need. Just as long as I stay focused, even when I didn't think things were going my way, I stayed focused. There were times where I didn't think I had the things that I need, but I took the army way. If it's hard, it's going to pay off. If it's easy, it'll pay off. But at the end of the day, I didn't like handouts. I mean, it's nice if you get them. It's nice if you can get a grant. It's nice if somebody wants to invest in you. But at the end of the day, I had to deal with I need to stick to what I'm doing. And when I stick to what
Mm.
I'm doing, for me, the long way works. Now,
Okay.
as far as
Okay.
being an African American, um,
Hmm.
for me, the world is what it is. It's not the 50s and 60s, and there's things that you can do, and you have to deal with the racism, but you still have to
We lost you.
process. For me, um, things are just going to happen. Some people don't know when they're being racist. Some people don't understand a black man goes through just on a moment to moment basis. We can talk about it and have a conversation, but from moment to moment, there are things that go on, and it's hard to explain to America. And it's not an excuse to not do the things that you need to do as an individual. Everyone has struggles, everyone has things they need to deal with. And as a black man, I would say you still have to go through the process. And as you go through the process, for me, I still went through some things that I saw to be unfair. I know what the laws are. I know what the rules are. I see that other people would get things done more rapidly than I would. I saw favoritism in certain areas, but which goes back to the first point. I had to stick to what I was doing. Keep going, keep pushing, and that worked for me. So as long as I would deal with things, sometimes you just got to go somewhere where people want to work with you. And that's what I did. And it might have been inconvenient at some points, but the inconvenience was not more important than the overall goals.
Than the overall goal. That's true. That's true. And Terica, you know, even though you my white chocolate sister, I'm sure you had some obstacles on your way as well. I would like to know, you as a woman, you know, you probably had obstacles because people just don't take us seriously at times.
Yeah. You know, I think the biggest challenge for me is, one, I'm a creative. I'm not necessarily a business mind. And we are doing something that is both. I also have a team of creatives, which are wonderful, and I understand them so well, but they can be very difficult to work with because we're procrastinators. We can be perfectionists if we aren't careful. Like we have big feelings. There's and then you're dealing with mostly women. So it has its challenges for sure. And because we were doing something from scratch, there's such an uphill learning curve. And, you know, you don't, I guess the temptation is to feel a bit like an imposter because you're like, it's not like I was trained to do this, except by the Holy Ghost, you know?
Yes.
But those have like been some of our biggest challenges as a woman. As a woman, it's so funny to like even hearing Heather's story, like you don't expect the challenges to be what they are. But as a female, you're in this world where you have to deal with people's projections and you deal with this competition mentality. And that's hard because I consider myself an advocate of women and a cheerleader for other women. And so I want to promote them and platform them. And we've made it our goal from the beginning to be very multicultural and multi-ethnic. And it's beautiful and it's wonderful, but it's a challenge just working with women. Challenge, you know, just because again, not only is it females who already have big feelings and ideas and are incredible creatures, powerful beyond belief, but at the same time, it's creative women for the most part. And so it's just navigating, and I have my own big feelings and my own stuff to deal with. And so, you know, you kind of trigger each other and it's just this constant, I mean, even just recently, I'm like, dear Lord.
I know. But
it's very refining, you know, it's very refining. It's very sanctifying, I guess is a good word to use.
Yes. Thank you, everybody. I thought I saw somebody giving a shout out. Hey, Mr. Hall, Julius Hall, how are you? Thanks for tuning in. So being a woman, being an African-American woman, and being in certain spaces that's male predominant or predominantly white, whatever the case may be, we all have obstacles, okay? We all have issues that we have to push through. And like Charles was saying, unfortunately, he had to jump off, but maybe he'll jump back on. He's working, so he probably had somebody show up for a cut. But anyway, we all have obstacles. And just like he was saying, you just have to stay focused and push through yours. And, do it the best way that you know how to do it. When we start trying to be someone else, doing something else, is when I think we get the most problems. Because once you stay in your lane, as the youngsters say, I'm half a century now, so I try to hang in there with the slang still. But once you stay in your lane, and you'll have all what you need to overcome whatever you need to overcome. I'm a firm believer. Just like God said, Moses is in your hand. He's given us everything in our ability to get over whatever we need to get over. We just have to believe to know that we can do that. So I guess, okay, so here we have an audience question that says, what do you guys plan on doing new in 2022 for your businesses? Is there any new plans that you have on the table? Anything new? Well, Heather, you gave us a teaser. You've got some new franchises coming up, girlfriend.
Yes, I am opening more Decas. I'm also dabbling in 3 other categories that aren't even related to Deca. So I'm just I'm going everywhere right now at this point. Time is money. So
Yeah.
2022, I'm hoping is going to be the year where, again, I'm not being my own boss. I have the freedom in 2022.
Yeah.
So.
It's all about freedom in 2022. Free to be me in 2022. Terica, what do you have new on the horizon?
We are expanding our brand, and so we are going to begin events this year. Is a big thing we're focused on right now. We have our first large event. Well, it's large event in the sense that, it's in Tuscany, so it's quite an undertaking. Trying to get that coordinated. So we're working on that right now. We're getting ready to launch a number of domestic events as well. We have a membership program we're getting ready to launch. My husband as well. I mean, to Heather's point, on a personal level, there's like all kinds of things going on. But where Eden and Vine is concerned, it's growing like crazy. We're about to bring on new contributors, and it's just a lot of, we've reached that point because we're in year 3 where we're kind of got our feet under us and we feel a little settled. So we feel like we can start building and kind of growing up. And so all the things that we've not done to this point, like expanding our contributor base and opening it up to sort of the masses and the public and any woman who has a story, all of that's getting ready to launch. And then with the event side of it, we have a tiered system where the magazine is like the intro. And then we have our membership will be kind of our next level. And then the events will be the deepest level, if you will, because they're very deep and very intimate. And it's kind of like taking women by the hand and walking them through the pages of the magazine and sort of our pillars that we're built on. So yeah, lots of stuff, lots of projects.
Wow. Well, Heather says she's a reader. So hopefully by the end of the day, you'll have 2 new members of your magazine, which is me and Heather. For sure.
That's so good. That's so good.
Joseph, I have learned so much. Thank you for your great responses. You're welcome, sir. So, I mean, I'm excited. I mean, every time I see you ladies are like bright sunshine for me. And I was telling Miss Miller when she was on the show, Heather, that that brunch that we had, it was like boss brunch. You know what I mean? I felt so encouraged. And so, Terica, do you have ladies that you sort of inspire, that get inspired by, or you have this I don't want to say clique, but you have this this crew, this squad, that you can sort of encourage and bounce off of? Do you have something like that?
Yeah, that was something else that was really interesting about the pandemic as well, is we decided we would launch an intern program, and through a crazy string of events, literally a girl approached me out of the blue at a table at a cafe, and she was a missionary, a YWAM girl, and just a ball of fire. And by the time I left, I was like, I need your phone number.
Yes.
Like, okay. She was our waitress. And next thing you know, she had come on board along with a a slew of her, 23, 24-year-old friends, which they have all that beautiful energy. And they're all like these beautiful, well-cultured, well-traveled YWAM girls that have hearts for Jesus and missions. And so we sort of had this intern team. And then again, with the pandemic, we already, as a family, we already had, our community of people. But with Eden Vine, something really was birthed during the pandemic. And I think part of that was just because God had so beautifully positioned us out in the country on a farm. And we had the space. And so people came to us. And so every week we would just meet, and we would package product, and we would record videos, and we just grew together. And so it was really incredible to see how God built this beautiful community on site. I mean, we have, an on-site, or not an on-site, I call it my boots on the ground team. And then we have like our ladies prayer team and whatever that are around the globe. But so it was really incredible to see how God birthed this beautiful community around Eden Vine, even locally. And they're all volunteers. I mean, they all do it. They volunteer their time, and it's just, it's really beautiful, but it's birthed so much. There's been so much fruit from it.
Wow. Mr. Small, thank you for tuning in. This is awesome. Please keep on going. Keep on.
What they say anyway, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. So
yeah.
Oh, I like that. Say that again.
Show me your friends and I'll show you your future.
Wow. I love that. Who says that?
Mm-hmm. Well, I do now.
Who says that?
Yeah. It was in some book, but it's okay.
I'm stealing that. That's awesome.
Heather said it. Yeah.
Okay, Heather said it. I mean, you ladies can agree with me when I say women need women. I don't know, I can't speak on the men. I don't know how they do it, but I mean, men have a camaraderie that's like timeless. I mean, my son has friends that he was in the second grade with, right? And I'm just wondering why, women, it's rare, but it's doable. You know what I mean? I want to have that sisterhood wherever I am, knowing that, yes, I can go get on the phone or whatever, but I'm talking about I need some energy around me. You know what I mean? And Heather, I feel like I did get that with you, Atia and Mafia. And I'm like, we need to do that again. And we need to, sort of get this synergy going again. It was just incredible for me, but Heather, do you have a group of ladies that you sort of bounce off of and all that good stuff?
So I keep my circle really small. Again, with the show me your friends, I'll show you your future. I've realized that the more energy that I give to certain people, that's going to be my future. And so I do have a couple mentors that have the life that I desire to have, that I speak to on a daily basis. But then my close friends, that I spend time with, we all connect and talk about, both the negatives and the positives of life and how we, can get through it and all of that. But I'm always open to meeting like open-minded individuals. Like it doesn't have to be like you don't, if you work a 9-to-5 job, you're not, if anything, I think that a 9-to-5 job is the tool that we all need to be able to get to the end goal that we all want anyway. So in answer, yes. Very small circle.
Yeah. And
and that's very small. I just want to say, like, as far as your friends go, like, I figure if you've got 2 or 3 that you can go deep with, I'd rather have 2 or 3 you could go deep with than 100 that are the same. Like,
there just to say that you have a bunch of friends.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. And you know how Facebook messed up the word friends, to be honest with you. Facebook just really messed that up, because everybody's not your friend. I got 5,000 friends. No, honey, you do not.
You don't.
You have 5,000. You have 5,000 people that are nosy, basically. But
yes,
or want to look like they have more friends, so they friend you.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So, but you have, as women, we have a circle that is I'm talking about ride or die circle. It's just like, that's the circle that knows your ins, outs, do's, don'ts, whatever. And then we have a circle outside of that and I, like I said, I'm 50. I'm older than both of you guys. I found that in life, you have this circle right here that knows every bit, every dirt, every whatever. And then you have a circle outside of that at times they don't even get along. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like they're not your friends that are outside of this little circle. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Everybody is not in that friendship circle. I connect to people on different levels for different things in different areas. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So my friend over here that's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs might not be your friend because she's over the top to you. But to me, she's perfect. So everybody is in your life on certain levels or categories for reasons that you might need. Like, let's go to Jesus. Jesus had disciples, 12 of them, but he only called 3 when it was time to get down. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I actually have an article that I wrote in a recent issue on relationships, and I use the old Testament, outer courts, inner courts, and Holy of Holies.
There you go.
How we should view our relationships,
Exactly.
and how to walk people through that very filter. Because years ago, I think women tend to struggle more in relationships anyway, just because of how we're wired. But years ago, God gave me that metaphor, and it's exactly what you're saying. Like you have your Holy of Holies, and then you have like your inner courts. That's like, you go to dinner and you hang out and whatever. And then you have the masses, which to your point, Jesus, I mean, everyone was welcome, right? He loved everybody, but then he had his 12 and then he had his 3.
Yes.
So it was like,
Erica, do you believe in like evolving though? Your friends, you evolve from your circle to your circles.
Yes.
That's one of the quotes in that article was it's rooted scientifically. I couldn't tell you the resources right now, but that you become like the 5 people you spend the most time with. And so who are those 5 people, and do you want to look like them?
You want that in your future, right?
Yeah. And then we also go through Paul having, Barnabas and Saul and Timothy. So he always had someone who was pulling him higher, and he always had someone that was sharpening him, and then he was always pouring out. So just that round kind of holistic view of how healthy relationships look at every level,
Right.
Girlfriend, I love that. What did you said one that brings him higher, one that sharpens him, and then one that he pours out to. If that's not my circle, that's telling you.
That was the Apostle Paul. That was how he lived, I mean, those were his key relationships. Barnabas was always, and you look at that, and it's just such an example, but you see it with Jesus too. I mean, you see it plainly. I mean, obviously the Father was, who pulled him higher, but I mean, there was and he was obviously the epitome. But I have just found you need all of those relationships to keep you sharp. Like, I need mentors. I need voices of people who can hold the mirror up to my life and say, girlfriend, you don't look good. Right. I've had some conversations coming into 2022 that I'm like, oh my word.
Yes.
But the mirror is good. I don't resent it because I'm like, oh, I know it's for my good. And then, learning to sharpen other women and have women in your life who sharpen you and push you and provoke you. And then always serving, right? Always discipling the next generation. That's just straight.
Right.
But yeah.
You should be able, and like someone said one time that a woman stepped out of her home looking crazy, and somebody said she does not have a best friend because her best friend would have told her not to step out looking like that.
That's right.
Every woman should have that friend that's gonna be like, girlfriend.
Yeah, but you got to be willing to hear it too, right? You have to be the person to receive it, and I pride myself a little bit on being like teachable, and like I welcome correction, and I welcome whom the Lord loves, He disciplines, He chastises, and so I'm like I welcome it. But I'm telling you, I've had some conversations lately with some women that hold the mirror up to my life that I'm like, I like my flesh stood straight up and was like, oh, excuse me. I had to like sit for weeks with the Holy Ghost to get myself in check. But I do welcome it because it's changed me, right? It pushed me deeper, it pushed me higher.
That's what it's all about.
Most successful people, actually, the majority of super successful people are able to take constructive criticism well.
How do you grow without it, right? How do you grow without that?
if I still had the same mindset that I had when I was 19, let me tell you.
Right.
Like, so.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you like this. I pray. I thank God that I don't think the same way that I did back in the day, because thinking back, I was that friend that would tell you what time it was, and then you could probably tell of my personality. I was that friend, girl, what you doing? You know, that was me. But now in time, as I get more mature, tactfulness, there's a way to say and do everything. And then all at the same time, you're lifting as well as telling them or rebuking them or whatever the case may be. You're saying it in love, so they can receive it better. Because back in the day, I didn't care. I was just like, ugh. And then one day it just came to me that that person was like, what you say is true, but you just hurt me when you say it the way you say it. And I had to stop and say, this is not about hurting Mona Lisa. It's about helping the person, and then you get cut and then you don't like it. Mm-hmm. So stop cutting other people. Because Mona Lisa, you're just, and I'm like going, for real? But you don't have eyes in the back of your head for a reason. So somebody's got to see the back of your head, right? You got to have someone that has your back, because you don't see it. Yeah. And we all grow. And I love, man, that's why I love you guys. That's why I love you. So last question on the floor is, what would you say to encourage anyone that is wanting to start a business with their gifts, or in a business that's going to, their purpose? What would you say? And we'll start with Terica on that one.
I would say, first of all, you got to start. There is never going to be a perfect time to start. There's not. You're never going to feel 100% ready. You're never going to feel, in my experience, that has not been the case. You got to be willing to step out there and trust God and just go for it, first of all. And you have to know that you're going to make mistakes, and that's how you're going to grow. And even in the beginning days for us, I remember reading a quote that from some entrepreneur, and he said, your first product should always be crap, basically. He used a different word, but basically. And I was like, because he said, if you don't, then you'll never do it. If you're waiting on a perfect product, you're never going to step out and do it. And then I had a few meltdowns along the way. Like, we had a major printer walk out on us right before we launched our first issue. And it was just nightmare stuff that, had I known I was going to encounter those things, had I known the people were going to do the things they did, and I never would have done it, because it was a sitting and a half. But that is how you grow. And I have a dear friend in my Holy of Holies who looked at me one day, and he just has, he's just a seer, and he's such an encourager. But he looked at me one day having a meltdown, and he said, Terica, he said, don't you think when Martha Stewart and Oprah Winfrey and all these people launched their magazines, they had issues? He's like, don't you think that they had dilemmas? Don't you think that they had to grow through some stuff? He said, how do you think they became Oprah and Martha Stewart? And I was like, you know what? Okay, fine. But I didn't get myself together, and I just decided, okay, you pay for your learning. That's part of it. And that's how you grow. So my encouragement is just, don't wait for the perfect day. Don't wait for the perfect opportunity. Just step out, because, again, to the point, you bring your loaves and fish. It's not our business what God does with it. If you're really called to do it, it's about his purposes. So it'll get done. You just got to trust him with how it looks, and the timing and the time frame, and how quickly it does or doesn't grow. And there's a lot you got to hold to and surrender to.
Definitely. Wow. Good words. Good words of encouragement. Okay, Heather, what do you say?
Well, to piggyback off of Terica, I would say the same thing, but to alleviate some of that stress or anxiety that you may have going into it, taking that first step, do the research. Continue working the 9-to-5 job as a tool. Again, you need the tools to get to your end goal anyway. Don't feel like the first step into stepping out would be to quit your job. Like, don't quit the job until you did the research, until you know exactly what you want to do. And it's crazy, because I do know a lot of people that have just quit their job and then went out there and was like, okay, I have no idea what to do. Yeah. So keep the tools, use the tools, find the person that could be your mentor, the person that is already doing it, and speak to them, connect with them, and that's big to me, mentorship. So
Yes.
That's wonderful. All of that I would agree with totally, because if you don't start, how are you going to start? If you just don't get out there, like Steve Harvey said, just jump, jump. That's the only way you can say that it wouldn't work or it didn't work or whatever. How are you going to know if you don't jump? And then, Heather, you said a key thing too. Don't just quit your job, honey, because I did that.
You did that.
Yes. I quit my job and I was like, this is it. God is going to carry me. And yes, he carried me. He carried me over to the unemployment office because, honey, you need funds to seed the seed. You have to have funds to seed your dream. You got to have it. Now, unless you have a bank account that can carry through, but you know how they say you have to have at least 3 months of income before you decide to do anything. That's not a joke. That's for real.
I'm just laughing because I'm like, this is the traditional wisdom we need, right? Like, don't just quit your, listen. I'm a living witness.
You do not want to quit your job, honey. All you have to do is start making a plan. And then save.
Yes.
And then you cannot touch this money.
No.
And you have to have discipline. And and like we were saying on the last 2 shows, ladies, basically, if you don't do the craft, if you don't sharpen your craft and what you're doing, and if you don't put some paper to that business, you have a great hobby. That's not a business.
Right.
You play it.
Number one thing that I see is that I never wanted to buy a job. I never wanted to purchase a job. So if you're leaving one job and going into something that you put all of your money into and you're working that same, I mean, there's nothing beneficial.
Vaughn, I'm serious. Vaughn laughing at me. I'm dead serious. But anyway, so ladies, before we close the show, I want to say thank you for blessing my whole experience today. I just love it. Hearing people, my beautiful ladies doing the doggone thing. I just enjoy it. I just love it. This is what I love to do. And Terica, I love to talk. So,
I love it.
Heather's getting to know me. Terica knows me, but Heather's getting to know me. But before we go, I want you ladies to tell us how to find you. Tell us, where to find you, how to follow you, products, whatever you want to tell them. You have the floor. Heather, you go first. Go ahead.
Well, Decca Lash, of course, has a Instagram, and that's just Decca Lash _Pooler. And then my personal page, right? My personal page is Lady Locks _pilot, Lady LOCS _pilot. And that's just my pilot page where I'm traveling the world and all of that, flying.
Ooh.
So
awesome. Okay, awesome. Terica?
So good, Heather. I'm going to find you when I get off this call.
Yes.
I have questions. I'm like, wait a second. I have questions for Heather. Where can you find me? Great question. I'm caught up in Heather's adventures at the moment. So you can find us at EdenandVine.com. Eden like the garden, and 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 Vine like a vine. EdenandVine.com. All of our products are there. The magazine's there. You can subscribe there. You can order single copies there. We keep all of our back issues because it's created like a coffee table book and it builds in volumes. So they're classic forever. And then, of course, we're on Instagram. You can find us at Eden and Vine on Instagram. And all of my shenanigans, where it all started, is also on Instagram at Terica Joy, Joy, all one word.
Yeah, and Heather, that would be amazing if you guys connected so you can get an advertisement or something in that magazine, because that magazine is everything. It is everything. And and it's all about beauty. It's all about woman. It's just wonderful. It's just wonderful. And it was blessed by God. When you read it, you'll see. You'll see, honey. But Terica, before we go, if you did have a question for Heather, you could go ahead and ask her.
Well, the first question that came up when you were sharing earlier is how long ago did you open your first franchise?
I opened it in 2020, so
Okay.
May
You
of
did say during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, in 2020. So you're seeing significant, like, quick growth.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's quick.
Yeah.
You're talking about opening other franchises. I was like, doing them. I was like, wait a second. That's girl. That's quick. Bravo. That is so quick.
But I mean, again, I don't know if it's because we opened during the pandemic and we saw like nothing compared to what we are now, but it's grown enough to where we are. I'm just gonna go ahead and open the other two at the same time.
Shoot for the skies, man. Do it.
That's what I say.
And about the piloting stuff, like, are you still flying?
So I've taken the past year off, 2022. Okay. I've picked it back up, of course, but not as now it's just pleasure. I'll go and get $100.
You can just go fly a plane.
Yeah, just go, and I call it $100 cheeseburger, or we call it $100 cheeseburger, where you just get in the plane and go fly to Simmons Island. Go get a cheeseburger.
Mona Lisa, look, what? Girl, we got a pilot.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Waiting for islands and countries to open back up so I can go and take, a weekend trip to Jamaica or.
You can do that.
We can. Okay, Heather, don't play with me. And Terica is dangerous, Heather.
You got my wheels over. I'm like, hold up.
Terica is dangerous. If you say you can get in a plane and fly.
Just remember, I'm not talking about the commercial size. They're going to be like.
No, we're talking about private planes. Yeah.
Oh, not private jets, but private plane. Yes.
Right.
I got you. Okay.
But you can do that. But still, you're a pilot, so you can just like go like borrow a plane and like fly to the islands.
Yeah.
Vaughn says he's coming too.
I know.
You're coming too.
We're birthing a whole side gig here, Heather.
Pretty much. I'm like, okay, weight and balance. Can't really, we might have to invest in a plane. It's funny because last year I was supposed to purchase a plane where I could fit enough people, enough friends in and go to an island, but then pandemic didn't ease up. I thought it was going to ease up, but it hasn't. So we'll see. Maybe by my birthday this year, I'll get one.
Where are you located?
Let me say this. Uber lets you freaking Uber planes.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
What?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Uber, like actual Uber?
That's why I'm like, I'm not against like a 9-to-5 job here. Like if I got an Uber, that's what I'll do. That's going to pay.
I did not know that.
Yeah. And if you can't afford a jet, you can still rent a jet or a private plane, or Uber a private. It just depends on what you looking like, honey. Trust me, it's ways to do everything now.
Yeah.
I've looked at some of the like fractionalized ones, where you have like
10 people, 15 people,
and you can like be a part of like a membership type of approach where you can get where you want to get, but you don't own the plane, but you have access to a plane. I've looked at them; they're still expensive.
Yeah, they're still expensive, but
thankfully, I've my whole life I've worked on planes and helicopters, so I can get a cheap one and upgrade it for pretty much nothing. That's the only reason why. That's the only reason why when I say I'm going to buy a plane, it's not like, don't think like, oh, she's a millionaire, she's just going to go and get $1 million. No, I'm going to go get a plane for cheaper than my car and then upgrade it, and then it's worth more than my car and cost me nothing. So
you can do that.
Look at what we're learning.
I know. Right.
Heather,
well, I'm over here owning franchises. That's what I'm saying. It really it depends on where you want to go in life. And right now I want to be on an island with a Mai Tai, and so.
Wow. Okay, we got okay. I don't know where they're from, but thank you for tuning in. This has been a blast. I'm gonna have to get you guys back on the show Oh my!
You know we're
and
trouble,
you know
Mona
what?
Lisa. Look at
I
us
know.
coming up with stuff. We're trouble.
We go get on a show at an island, on an island.
Girl, come on.
Great.
Now
Sign
see,
me up.
What?
don't even play with me. I choose Jamaica for real. I choose Jamaica.
That's all
Oh
I'm
my
asking for.
gosh, Terica. Okay,
You know my wheels are already over here.
I know.
We leave next
Okay.
week for the U.S. Virgin Islands, and I'm over here like,
Oh
but
my
see, Heather's a
gosh.
pilot, and she could, and like we could like, why could, yeah, wheels going.
Yeah,
I'm like, just
yeah, all day.
Heather, you need
Okay.
to stay away from us because we're making plans for you that you may not want anything.
That
to
you
do
might-
with.
Like I said, as long as it involves a Mai Tai.
My time in Islands, we're good.
Oh my gosh. Okay, thank you, ladies, for coming on the show. Now we have another show in the evening tonight. The show tonight is 9 Eastern, 8 Central. If you ladies aren't doing nothing, look, jump back on tonight. I love it. I love it. I love it. We're gonna have some more guests tonight, but I will bring you in if you ain't got nothing else to do. Please trust and believe that. But anyway, thank you, ladies. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
tuning in. Thank you.
God bless you guys.
Right.
All right, take care.
Bye.
Man, what a show. What a show. Thanks everyone for tuning in to the Mona Lisa Monroe Morning Show. Oh my gosh, I'm looking forward to tonight. Like I said, look, I try to get off an hour. I try to get off in the 30 minutes, but when you get the guests that I've had lately, and we got the folks that's checking us out, talking to us, it's gonna run a little over. And I'm not even gonna apologize. So thank you for tuning in this morning to the Mona Lisa Monroe Morning Show. Love you. Take care.